Welcome to the People's Podcast. Frisbee touchdown. It's the time again. Couple of best friends hanging out in Malibu. Let's it loose. It's week 0 with 18 more to go. Last year's champ, where are you at? Sean O'Malley got a target on his back. The stakes are high, for the record I will run a beer mile. If the Sacco goes to Scotty, no.
And we're live. Wah, wah, wah.
Just a couple of best friends hanging out.
Can I just say, first and foremost, that I'm so happy that Curtis has joined our degenerate gambling with like nothing to gain, only to lose by betting a beer mile on Scotty No winning the Sacco.
Well, he's gaining friendship and lifelong memories.
And a story, yes.
It's really the friends we made along the way. That's the real what a Sheba trophy.
Yes. That's what Adam has to say to himself with meditation every night, leading up to his Sacco shot every Sunday.
Dude, that quarterback got cut by the Saints. Ian Book. He kicked his ass to the curb this offseason.
That
The guy
quarterback.
that have resulted in the Dolphins getting 27 or whatever, how many points it was in that game for me to just walk it off.
Yeah, geez. Nathan Peterman status. Though he stuck around with Gruden for a minute, didn't he?
Yeah, he I think he also recently got cut by whatever team he was with, but it wasn't the Raiders. But yes, that Peterman game was great because I think the Chargers were still in. No, they weren't. They might have just left. But yeah, he threw 4 picks in the first half against the Chargers.
Wow.
And that one dude quit mid-game because of that. Remember that cornerback? What the hell was that guy's name? Oh, he just like quit mid-game.
That
What a
wasn't.
thing.
Oh my gosh, that wasn't Peanut Tillman, was it?
No, Colts. Oh, we're already in it. We're like less than a minute in, and we're already doing the podcast math.
Big tangent.
Both
Googling stuff.
cornerback quits mid-game. Vontae Davis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How
With
fun.
his Buffalo Bills down 28-6 minutes before halftime against the LA Chargers, so they had moved in week 2. 30-year-old two-time Pro Bowl cornerback removed himself from the game.
That's way less epic for Antonio Brown then, because he didn't do it first. He won up Vontae Davis. Vontae went like quietly.
You can't beat what Antonio Brown did. That was just ridiculous.
It was so fun.
Hey, so how's it doing? How you doing?
How's your father? Well, we're currently in a heat wave, and it turns out that I still cannot handle the heat. This whole week I've been hungover, and it's been hot, and I feel like I've just been brain dead the whole week. Low energy, just sucking down coffee, trying to like make myself be productive at work. Really cool. I'll just go into my life recap. Went to a Leon Bridges concert last night with Ashley. She bought us tickets, for a date night. So we went out, had dinner at Benchmark, then we biked over back to our house, took a shot real quick, dropped off leftovers, biked over to the bowl. It's like 4 blocks from our home, so that was just like a jaunt, super fast. Then got up to the top by sunset time.
Nice.
Bought some wine because we were like on a wine kick, even though we had just taken shots. And that in the moment they're like, "Do you want to make that a double?" And I'd never been asked that with wine before, so I was like, sure, yeah, of course, a double. And then yeah, two doubles of wine was, you know, $60 at the bowl, so that was great. We just got these like cups,
Personal
like filled
bottles.
to the rim, yeah, personal bottles. And I was like, oh, all right, tomorrow is gonna suck. But yeah, Leon Bridges was a very fun concert to just like, I don't know, have like lovey-dovey date night dancing too in the pit, you know, like it was not, we didn't go crazy or anything. It was nice and chill and settled into that drunken rosé.
The wine is
But
nice. The wine drunk is the best.
yeah, so that was cool. Flashing back to like last weekend, Friday.
Yeah, give me your play-by-play.
Friday was pretty cool, you know, like starting Wednesday even really couldn't do any work at all. It's just like so excited about fantasy football and the boys. Friday comes along and Kurt, Brad, and I are all, you know, working from home. Kurt picks us up at like 1 o'clock, and then we stopped at Costco in Oxnard. And I think Costco has a superpower of just always having a completely full parking lot. I feel like Trader Joe's is the same way, but like this Costco was packed, and there's like lines of people, of cars just waiting to park, waiting for somebody to pull out super slowly, or waiting for pedestrian, you know, just like total nightmare. We get in there.
Did you and Brad bail early?
No, we were, it was a group effort through and through. And, you know, it just goes to show like how naive we were going into this situation, right? Because like we have Kurt's Subaru, and already it's kind of like a third full with just our bags, right? And we're like, oh shit, like Costco. And so then we're like, okay, you know, like should we get 1 cart or 2 carts? Grabs 2, thankfully. And we just started going down the list and like buying stuff. Not really appreciating how much 12 of us could put down, you know. Like we bought 3 36 packs, you know, a pack of White Claws, a pack of Topo Chicos, 4 handles, box of wine, right? We're like, this is gonna be fine. And you know, people he put in the chat, he's like, you know, make sure you buy like 3 extra cases than what you expect. Yeah, turns out like a full cart. We filled the cart to the brim with booze, and that was not enough to make it past day 2, right? So that was crazy. They have samples back, so that was pretty nice. Getting rewarded with samples, but it was a zoo in there, man. And like we would be like, it felt like we were in the parking lot waiting. We were just in line
for it to
in aisleways.
Yeah,
it was just like nutty. And at one point I got caught. There was an employee only aisle, and a person on an electric scooter pulled in to the employee aisle, and this employee was trying to leave, and this person didn't realize that it wasn't an aisle, and so they were just at a standstill. And by the time the person in the scooter like understood like what was going on, there were carts behind the scooter already, one of which was me. And I was just like,
you're like, what's going on out there?
Like, and like people are coming from the other aisle, and you know, naturally there's always like greedy people that just like are trying to swerve around, or like for some reason impatient. You can never go to Costco with an impatient state of mind, right? Like, you know, it's like an airport, right? You can't just like zoom around people. You're gonna be annoyed. So that was fun. We filled the Subaru to the brim, literally had stuff falling on me as we were driving the last leg of the trip. So truthfully, if we had bought any more, you know, I would have had to ride on the roof rack. So that was cool. It's good to know next year we need to have like 2 different cars go on Costco runs. So that was fun. And then, yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that because we'll talk about more of draft weekend. But life
Sweet.
is good. Otherwise, sorry, yeah. Last note, spent all summer coaching junior high youth clinics for Ultimate Frisbee. And, you know, first couple weeks, they could barely throw or catch standing still. And by the last week, they were able to like score a point upwind in a scrimmage. And I was just like so juiced. Because it's not like my standard, like leftover kids who just need an activity to do that I'm trying to teach how to be athletes. Like junior high, we're like stealing them from soccer, and they're like, you know, we're competing with soccer and football as like what's their favorite sport gonna be. And so we have a couple athletes, and it's like such a game changer coaching an athlete versus a non-athlete.
For sure.
But
are you still coaching the high school kids too?
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to take a little break in fall quarter so I can focus on SBYU initiatives. I'm like stepping in as the president and trying to like really take advantage of this blank check that we have with our generous benefactor because up to now it's kind of been a lot of like chickens running around with our heads cut off. And so I'm trying to like step in with a plan of like, here's our roadmap to having a youth league in Santa Barbara. So that's pretty exciting, but it's hard to do that when I'm also like spending 6 hours a week coaching. Yeah. Anyways, that's me. How about you, Gaul? What's going on?
Yeah, speaking of coaching, my own coaching has started. I am co-coaching SDSU Men's Ultimate, the Federales.
Ooh, no, just kidding.
And it is definitely an early exercise in patience because they're pretty terrible. Like even their returners are like not good. The team didn't make it out of sectionals last year. And it's just like it's a different challenge, right? And like I'm open to it, but I think we took some things for like granted going like through Tide that now I'm missing. Like for instance, like the quality of returners, right? Like at Tide, if you're a new person, you can see someone freaking like ball out in the fall. If it's like Heaven or Curtis, they do something ridiculous while scrimmaging, you're like, wow, that was sick. And like, I want to do that. There's none of these guys. Like none of the returners are like model players, right? They're all pretty terrible themselves. And so it's like a new added challenge to like keep people interested in the sport, some of whom are like the standard people you want to recruit, those like athletes from other sports who like know what they're doing, at least athletically, like they know what a cut is. They know how to like run hard at something or like someone, right? Which, yeah, I know what you're talking about like athletes versus non-athletes. You see that at every level, but it's like, how do you not understand to like make a check mark? Or how do you not understand to keep your left foot down? That's your pivot foot. Keep it down. But in any case, so this is it's offering new challenges. Also, it's 3 nights a week instead of 2 nights a week, but 2 hours at a time versus 3 hours at a time, which is not as preferred. I mean, I don't know what's better. I think 3 hours twice a week is better because 2 hours, first of all, is kind of rushed. It's kind of like a rush time. Like it's hard to get through an entire like plan of practice while you're trying to budget for scrimmaging, right? And as like an adult who's not on the team, who has his own life and partner who wants to do things with, it's like 3 days of the week now I have to budget for that instead of 2. Whatever, we're not talking about Ultimate Frisbee, but in any case, my coaching also is starting and it has its own challenges.
Yeah. What's your time slot? Like 6 to 8?
It's Monday 7:30 to 9:30, and then Wednesday, Thursday 8:30 to 10:30.
Ooh.
So sometimes we're able to do like Chelsea and I, like yesterday we got like dinner. We went out to happy hour and had a meal and watched the football game before I had to go to practice. So that was nice.
Yeah.
But hard to like, you can't commit a whole evening to something because eventually I got to escape. But anyway, my Friday was full last Friday. I left San Diego around like 8:45 after filling up the gas tank. Drove to Costa Mesa, picked up Max. Briefly said what's up to Kelly. The Ninos were already at daycare, so didn't get to see them, unfortunately. I was excited, especially because I sent Zoe a bunch of little bath toys for her birthday. So I wanted to, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't see her taking a bath, so I don't know why I would see what they have, but in any case. It'd be nice to see the person that the gifts went to. But whatever. Then Max and I went to brunch, waiting for the LAX dudes to land. We had like a good like hour and a half cushion. So that was nice. Max and I caught up, and he quickly slugged 2 glasses of white wine with like an omelet, and I had a like a standard like amber, like an Alaskan amber. Trying to be responsible as we still had lots of miles to go. Then all the LAX guys landed. Surprisingly, very easy to pick them up. I was kind of dreading it, but it was like, and everyone knows LAX, but there's like 7 different terminals, and we like kind of like boom, boom, boom. I think it was like, I don't know, 357 or something, where it's just like very easy. We showed up right when like they were popping out of the gate, so easy.
That's huge. You didn't have like the parking security like whistling at you.
Wasn't even that. And like there was a time where we sat for like maybe 5 minutes when like Pebbles was on like the bottom level and he had to get up to the top level, but no one hassled us. So perfectly fine.
Very nice.
Then we made our way to disc golf in Thousand Oaks. Great course. It's funny to hear Stu talk about how miserable it was, because it was miserable. Don't get me wrong. You have to want to play disc golf to play in those conditions. Otherwise, I think it's easy to quickly get over it. It's a course I played twice before, which I like. Evan and I had been texting back and forth about it the entire week, like excited. So happy we finished. Max and Pebbles gave up on like hole 16 or 17, but we had like made this giant circle back to the car, and there are 2 more holes left. So they gave it the good old college try, right? And then Bill, Evan, and I finished out, and then made our way to the house.
Yeah. And then the party began. So I love how we were just so juiced to see each other that we just ended up going so hard on Friday night.
Unsurprising,
but also slightly surprising, right? Like Saturday night, we opted to be like on pseudo best behavior, knowing that we had our draft the next day. So it's kind of odd to me that we weren't smart enough
the
to
same restraint on Friday.
Knowing the draft competition is coming up, and like Stu last year was so hungover for the draft competition. I think he got lucky that he was vomiting all night long. Truthfully, he would have been maybe worse for the wear had he not purged.
That was quite the miraculous turnaround.
Yeah.
I know it's Saturday morning. I was feeling pretty good comparatively to everybody else. I mean, every day I woke up at like 7:15 with a headache for sure. But went upstairs, had some coffee, slugged a pint of liquid IV with the water. Definitely. Actually, it's pretty nice. Every morning I would get up and like Bacon and Max were already out there on the deck, and so I like joined them. That was fun. 1 a.m, I think it was Saturday morning. Actually, might have been Sunday morning. Either way, we were talking like with Bacon. He had his magazine, and he would like say stuff, and we'd be like, "Yeah, that guy's not on that team anymore." Which had actually happened during the draft when Allen Robinson was drafted, and Bacon's like, "Oh yeah, Allen Robinson. Pebbles also wants a slice of that Bears offense." And I was like, he's on the Rams.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know, with my like old age and habits now, is like I could not sleep past like 7:15 each morning, and so I was like,
same.
Also, I wasn't that like brutally hungover, so that was nice.
Thankfully, yeah. I had like lingering like 6 out of 10 hangovers where it was just like uncomfortable, and like at the tail end of the beach where I just needed like food or something, right? Like, because I was starting to like spiral again. But those liquid IVs were super clutch. It was nice to have like liquid IV, cup of Joe, and a wake and bake teed up, and that was just like enough to just coast.
I definitely also felt like a late bloomer after the beach, like at the beach, after the beach. Like when we started playing spike ball, I was like feeling not good. I was like, oh God, now I gotta like fly around playing this game.
Yeah, lesson learned. We gotta bring snacks to the beach. This is where protein bars would have been clutch.
I brought a cooler full of beers that we couldn't drink because of the fucking helicopters, the attack helicopters flying around.
It's wild. Yeah, when we showed up, that there was that woman that had a shoulder injury. She for sure got crushed by the waves. Like, that's got to be what it was. Concussed out of her skull.
After the beach, we had that lull time where people were eating, watching Notre Dame. We played Villainous, which I appreciated. You know, some slander was thrown that way from the other podcast, but
unwarranted slander.
It was literally like, all right, everyone's just like holding their dicks. Like, why can't we play this board game? No one's like rushing to play anything.
Not only that, but we had a phenomenal time. Like, Pebbles lives in Portland, has a child. He doesn't get to play board games at all. So getting to play a board game with Pebbles, enabling him to get his nerd on, you know, like,
he was
that
very
was
enthusiastic. First time playing, and there's a lot of rules for that game.
Yeah. And we were drinking too. It's not like we were like on the side, like saving ourselves or some shit, you know. Like,
don't talk to us.
Yeah. And then, yeah, like, fuck right off. Plus, everybody loves Villainous. I think there was a hint of jealousy. Yes, the FOMO.
I think we're just impatience. I think it was, I'm not ready to play beer pong now. I'm ready to play beer pong now. Everyone should be ready to play beer pong now.
Yeah, well, I also think that, you know, if we're being honest, I think you probably got us in a little bit of trouble because you kept being like, hey, you guys can start. You should think about
I'm just saying, we had a lot of games. How is that me getting people in trouble? There are literally 2 teams that can play. Oh, you mean that the game finished and there was a lull?
Yeah.
Well,
Because like, they're like, well, we started just like you had said, and now we're waiting on you.
That is fair. But as everyone knows, Villainous never goes to plan. Doesn't finish when you think it's going to play, especially when you try and cheat and people call you out.
That was a rough. Let's revisit that.
I'm like Fernando Tatis. Oh, I thought I was taking it for, you know, an infection I had. How did I know? How could I have known that I couldn't do that?
I thought this rule only applied to you, Pebbles, and not to me.
Yeah. I don't think we have to revisit the actual play because some people don't know what the hell we're talking about. But
all we have to revisit is the fact that you tried to pull a fast one on us, and you ended up atoning very solidly by taking multiple long whiskey pulls.
I did. I didn't. I was gonna say I pulled a Barker, but no, I did not pull a Barker because that guy can just fucking slug a fucking fifth. But in my slight defense, there is a character in that box that he can do the action whenever he achieves the goal. No, they're
we said we're not getting into the details.
Fine.
You made a mistake. You tried to cheat and you atoned for it, and everybody should know that.
All right, we're going to talk a lot about the competitions and whatnot and then the draft, but I want to go to my Monday a little bit because same morning shenanigans, woke up clean, but then literally my car, which was now Bill, Bacon, Evan, and myself, because Max had gone earlier to the airport with Pebbles. We drove to LAX to drop off Bill, drove to Long Beach, a half-hour away to play disc golf, Evan, Bacon, and I, which was a really nice course in the park, and surprisingly like 10 degrees cooler than anywhere else that we had been. Then went to lunch, in Long Beach, then went back to LAX to drop Evan off for his flight, then dropped off Bacon at Lish's place nearby, and then on my way home. So a lot of ping ponging around the LA area.
I have a funny end of Monday. So Monday, right, all of the boys are together. We're like cleaning up. People kind of know that they're leaving soon, right? And so everybody's like contributing in that regard, and we do all of our goodbye hugs. And I'm with Kurt and Brad, and so I just kind of like had assumed that we were on the same like time scale as everybody else and timeline. And I just kind of like, this is maybe my own insecurities, but I was just like accidentally like nudging us to like leave, because it was like 10 when everybody else was going,
Left,
right?
yeah.
And checkout time was 11, or it was like 9:30 at some point, right? And basically like people were leaving, and then Kurt's like, hey, like I kind of want to take a shower before we go on this thing. And like I think at this point Brad's even in the sauna already, right? And I was like, cool, man, like I'm in no rush, like I'm on your guys' timeline. Like Ashley's at the beach with her friends already, so like I'm chilling. And so like
Narrator
Kurt,
says, but he wasn't chilling.
but yeah, and I like feel like things kept happening to where it felt like I was like rushing the boys along, and I was, but there wasn't the vibe that I was trying to go for at the time. But it just like it felt like a weird storyline. So like Kurt gets out, he puts his clothes on, Brad's out, and so I was like, all right, like it's time to do our final steps or whatever. And then like I think maybe Brad goes back into the sauna or something, but I didn't know this, or like something happened. So I like go downstairs to turn the AC off, and then Brad comes back out, and like now it's hot in the house, and I'm like, oh, like I contributed, I turned the AC off, but then we weren't necessarily ready to roll. So I was just like kind of,
You guys are
I feel bad, like Kurt and Brad are very much, on a journey and trying to like enjoy the last of the house. And I would have loved to go back in the pool, but just like these weird miscommunications kept happening, I feel like. And so like even on the drive home, like I'm just trying to like pass out, and they're like, I felt like they asked me like, is it okay if we stop for Blenders? I was like, yeah, like we can get food, like sure, I'm down for whatever. Like I'm starting to get hungover again, but like I'm down for whatever, boys. But I don't think it came off that way. So yeah, I just wanted to like and then I get home, and then I'm just like home alone now. Like, all right, well, I guess I'll like take a nap. Like I don't know. So yeah, my Monday was funny because I think I was on like just accidentally a different wavelength, but trying to be on the same wavelength. It was weird.
For sure. I mean, definitely the Bay Area car, they were chomping at the bit to get out. And then I know I also was motivated to go as quickly as possible because of all the stops and whatnot that we had on this docket. So I can see how you could very easily get caught up in all of that. And then, yeah, I know even like trying to say goodbye to those guys, like it was like one of them's in the shower and I'm like, the car's packed and I'm ready to go, but I don't want to be like a dick and just leave without saying goodbye.
Yeah. They know how to enjoy the journey, which is awesome. But yeah, we got to move this along. It's already.
I know. I have a timer going, and we're like 28 minutes in, and we haven't even got to any of the segments yet.
Woo!
In any case, this is great content. I'm sure the boys just want to hear us talking back and forth for 30 minutes.
Yucking it up, like just a couple of best friends hanging out,
Truly, we are doing the league an honor, a justice.
Yes.
In any case, competition recap. First, we had wiffle ball. We had team the U without Stu, which was Collin, Bacon, Weaver, Adam, Pebbles, and Brad versus team Stu without the U, which was Stu, Evan, Kurt, Bill, Max, and O'Malley. How did you like wiffle ball? I mean, obviously everyone loved it, but like, give me your Give me your reactions.
Yeah, I think it was the highlight of the trip, and the naming convention is just so perfect. The whole draft process leading up to it was so fun, and like there were some high pressure moments. There were some serious highlights. I don't feel like anybody really like got too bummed and let like that like affect the game. I feel like everybody had fun with it and was in it regardless of like performance, which is really nice. It's always a bummer.
I was just gonna say, Bill and I talked about what we would do competition wise for this weekend, and there's like wiffle ball. Yep, everyone loves it. 6-on-6. We'll take the runs we score as points, easy. And then we get there Friday night, and there's all these people, O'Malley and Stu specifically. They're like, we have to talk about the actual rules of wiffle ball. And I was like, I didn't even consider that there would be a debate about what the rules would be of playing this game of wiffle ball. And then O'Malley's like, we got to put a cap of runs. So like one team isn't like scoring like 30 runs and one team isn't. And like fast forward to the next day and we're scoreless through 5 innings.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that me and Evan just kind of like took over the rules. And it's very funny because we play very different wiffle ball games, right? Like mine is very much like family picnic, as little movement as possible because we have like old men playing, all the dads,
Yeah.
we have moms out there, right? Like no action at all. And Evan plays a version where you like run the bases and pitch overhand to your team. You know,
Hashtag
just,
MVP. Shout out Evan.
Yeah.
MVP for team the U without Stu.
Crushed it for us. And then like throwing in the wrinkles to just like give the offense the advantage was just kind of fun. It was the highlight of the weekend for sure.
Yeah, fun to walk it off. Fun, some great defensive plays out
So
there.
much
Kurt saving the grand slam. Insane.
Stu with the U without this you without the Stu giving up the lead in the top of the ninth.
Yeah.
And then walking it off with like a full-blown team effort. Huge. And then Kurt with just like the majestic grand slam save that had such point implications. Whew.
Yeah, truly. Really, I mean, it boiled down to just 1 point difference, which basically just results in a tie break if there is a tie between opposite teams. But yes, big ramifications.
Oh man, now I got to check to see where I would have landed. Had I had 4 more points.
Like plus 4 points. Yeah, I know.
How fun.
The dominoes, the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Spike ball next. Kurt O'Malley took the first place finish. Evan and I got second, Pebs and Bacon third, Weave and Stu fourth, Brad and Bill fifth, Max Adam sixth. What do you think?
I had a blast with Spike Ball, especially in our second game. When
Daddy.
Yeah.
Who's Daddy?
I was like, here you go, Daddy. It's me and Stu, and I'm just teeing him up to Daddy so he can just put all of his dad bod into these shots.
Dad power.
Dad power, yeah. And it was twofold effective, right? Like one, me and Stu are having a blast, right? And we're like distracting him from thinking about how hungover he is. And then two, like Brad was dying, who we were playing against. So like I was living in Brad's head rent free, just cracking him up about this. Here you go, Daddy. And I can only imagine like what spectators, like I'm out over here shouting like, hit it, Daddy. In this game amongst bros. But yeah, that was very fun. It's obviously the best spike ball players won, which is, classic. It takes me back to the days of rabbling, right? Like we weren't allowed to do any physical activities or play frisbee sports because there were certain people that were still playing professional frisbee and it would be an advantage. And here we are several years later.
But isn't it nice without the rabbling? You have that competition committee. It's like having elected officials You know,
I'm
because elected
so
officials always act within the
I'm
desires
for
of
the ele-
constituents.
I'm for the competition committee until a beer mile gets at until chugging events are the majority, and then I'm
I don't.
against.
There's no way we're ever gonna have a beer mile. As the years go on, I think that just becomes more and more in our rearview mirror.
Thank goodness.
At least as a competition, the whole league would do. I imagine bets will be made and lost
Mhm.
for that. Beer pong tournament. Stu and Bill took it down. We've encouraged second place in what Stu said was a walking. They walked you
Drubbing, yeah.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
the only desperation flower that I saw during that tournament. Brad and Colin get third. Pebbles and Evan get get fourth. Adam and Bacon 5. Max and O'Malley 6. That team was always doomed.
Yeah. Except Max actually was crushing it at Nemesis. He just couldn't figure it out come beer pong. And were they not part of the no, they weren't. The pool 2 3-way tie, point differential. That was pretty wild.
I don't think that happened.
It
I think
100%
there was
happened.
there was a potential for it, and then it ended up not happening.
No, it was a 3-way tie, and point differential is how the second pool, clearly the pool that you were not a part of. And
Consulting the ledger 5, 4, 6. Yep, you're absolutely right. Is that your pool? No,
Yeah.
that was
the hypothetical that we were
Yep.
hoping for was that me and Kurt beat one of the teams by 1 point, and then that would have been a 2-way tie for the lead, or a 3-way tie.
A 3-way tie.
Straight up, with point differential as well. But we ended up annihilating in our last pool.
Yeah, see that you beat Bacon and Adam by 5 cups. And then the other one was the 5 seed Adam and Bacon, 5 seed 15, I should say, beat Evan and Pebbles straight up. So that was the tiebreak.
Yeah.
It was potential. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were the team that lost to Pebbles. I cannot understate enough the effect that Evan had on that game. Slamming his fist or his hand down on the table was very fucked up vibes to be shooting against. It was uncomfortable, and we're just trying to put that last cup away and just can't, because it's this is weird. But yeah, good games all around. Super fun time.
I had a great time with Brad. I was getting super hyped in our 3-4 game against Pebbles and Evan when we closed it out, just because I was at that point doing very well in the standings, and at every point counted. So I was hyped.
Mm-hmm.
I was hyped. Relays then happened. Adam defeated Bill in the finals. I guess we won't read off 12 people here, but Evan took third and Bacon took fourth. We can just keep it at that. Adam saves his day with that performance, and then Bill cemented his drinking championship. His disputed belt protection, which phenomenal joke. Disputed.
Yeah. For it.
Yeah, I know we had talked this pre-pod, but regale our listeners about how you felt with the alteration with the shot instead of the beer.
Yeah, the shot was awful. I didn't throw up, which is a perk, but I was there, and it ruins my ability to drink for the rest of the night. Unfortunately, if I had just drank the beer and vomited, I would be able to puke and rally, right? But not puking after the tequila water chug was gnarly.
So what is your decision going to be next year, given that statement you just made?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know, that maybe it was just my timing of the shot. But think about when you take a shot and then the feeling that you have afterwards, and then immediately, instead of being able to recover, immediately you're chugging water. and how that
How
just
did you
like
do it? Did you split it up or take a full shot in the beginning?
I went bounce in, chug the water, shot, pound water, flip cup, shoot.
Shoot. Okay.
So it was negotiated that I had to do the shot either before the like after the bounce in or before flip cup, and so I opted for before flip cup. But
That sounds fair. I definitely was going to say I would take it absolutely last.
100%,
Yeah.
yeah. After chugging all the other water, yeah. And I think it was a little bit of a disadvantage too, because like gotta breathe, take the shot, and then chug the water, and then like recover from that, stumble over, and like I'm still chugging each glass too, right? And then it just adds like an extra, second or two. Ugh. But I will say I appreciate the flexibility of not just like dooming me to my transgressions.
Now you can
So
choose your own fate.
yeah, yeah. So what I won one game. I think, I don't know. It's all a blur. And then super funny. So after the 2 games that I played straight, it was going to be me versus Max. I was like, Max, I'm down to like try to like drink, a beer this time around, because I was like in that zone and I already knew that like a shot was going to be kind of gnarly. I was already reeling from it. So it's our turn. I get up and start walking over there, and then like I was just like, Max, I can't do this. And he's like, all right, well, like we won't drink, we'll just play. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I fucking immaculate relayed him. First bounce, flipped cup, first shot, just crushed him. I know, it's just like rewarding his
That's what he gets.
his kindness. I know. I should have just not. I should have
win forfeit.
Yeah, truly, that's what I should have done. But anyways, enough about that.
Last but not least, beer tasting. 5 blind beer tastings, proctored by O'Malley and Bill. So thank you to them. They were impartial judges, even though O'Malley did say he was accepting cash bribes. I appreciate them doing that. Bacon, myself, Pebbles, and O'Malley all got 5 out of 5. Bill, Evan, Stu, Adam, and Max got 2 out of 5. He's asterisk on one of those gentlemen. And then Kurt, Weaver, and Brad got 1 out of 5. Do I have that right? Yeah, I think I do.
1 out of 5.
Yeah.
I think that this event can be improved, not by increasing the quality, but by decreasing the quality of beers.
It would definitely make it harder. I mean, I think I got 5 out of 5, so who am I to like speak about it? But I could taste the difference between some of them. But yeah, if you had just like 5 light beers,
Chicati, Bud Light, Coors Light, Keystone.
Yeah, there's no way. That would be luck. That would just be like dart throwing every single one of those.
Yeah. But like those are all beers that we've drank. I had never even drank like 2 or 3 of them. Like I hadn't even heard of 2 of them. But yeah.
That was fun. I liked it. And yeah, I'm down to amend it later on, but it was a cool wrinkle that
it was.
The whole league took very seriously and with like no rabbling.
Yeah, it was a great event. 10 out of 10, even with the good beers. I'd do it again.
Next segment, atonement. So this one we can go by quick. Stu did 3 of 3 shotguns. I did 1 of them with him because he beat me in relays on Saturday night. So Sunday pre-draft, I shotgunned. He had atoned because he forgot the trophy. So I think a fair atonement for a heinous crime.
I feel the penalty should be harsher. I think he got off easy. I would love to see like a weekly punishment, at least for like half the season or something. Like forgetting the trophy for draft weekend. Like this is my second favorite weekend of the entire year. Yeah. I don't know. I think you got off lucky, Stu.
Throw it in the chat in the group me, guys. Did Stu get off lucky? Propose more atonements. Let's get some consensus here. Maybe we can bully him into something else.
We might be able to bully him, but I think the official record is that he has officially
Agreed and
atoned.
paid. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm super down to try to bully for more because that's just unheard of. That's crazy.
Second atonement brought to you by the League Crown Royal. This one's for me. I'm pouring a shot for myself because all year I have been instigating the shot per series for NL West opponents. And over last weekend, the Dodgers took 2 of 3 from the Padres. Unfortunately, that the first game went the Padres' way, and the second game, Sean Manaea gave up the butt. The third game was never really in grasp. But this is to you, Weave.
Hey, man. Cheers.
Cheers. Blah. They play a series starting tonight. Are you down for the same bet?
Always. But also,
Got my jersey over here. Let's go.
is it going to be canceled? Like, San Diego is both on fire, has gale force wind problems and flood warnings, and it's raining.
So it is standstill outside right now, and there's no rain. Also, the fire is northeast of us. Coincidentally, where SoCal Club Sectionals was going to be, and now it's been moved to Norco. Super inconvenient for us who live in San Diego. But as of right now, the Padres-Dodgers game is still going. They had the tarp out earlier, but yeah, it's not raining right now.
Huh.
So yeah, the shot is on. All right, next section, draft recap-ish, question mark. So instead of going through everything, 2 questions, I guess 3 questions, and I'll throw it to you first. Favorite picks and least favorite picks?
Oh my God, yes. This is fun. I got to look at the pick of the draft board. Can you go first and give me a moment
Okay.
to analyze?
That's perfectly fine. So what I said were for my least favorite picks, I put 3, 2 of which are Bacon's picks. So Bacon taking David Montgomery in the 3rd round, I don't like very much, especially when he could have grabbed any of T. Higgins, AJ Brown, Kyle Pitts, or Keenan Allen in that spot. Basically the 4 picks right after Montgomery, I would have preferred, especially considering he had a receiver and a running back there, so he could have gone either way. Second least favorite pick is Bacon's next pick is Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 4th round. That guy was just not good at all last year, and they have lots of competition in KC at that position. Yeah, so I don't like Montgomery or Helaire 3rd and 4th round in that 4th spot by Bacon. And then last was Scott taking Metcalf in the end of the 3rd. I realize that's a kind of a tough spot to be in that wraparound position where you got to wait forever. But, you know, there's some receivers that were taken after, like McLaurin and Williams and even Waddle, that I would have taken over Metcalf.
Not Sutton, though?
Sutton is a big question mark to me. I'm kind of a scaredy cat about him. I remember him being like really good, and then he hasn't played for like over a year. So now I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. The picks that I hate are more so just out of like selfishness.
This is exactly what you said last year too. Where you're like, I hate the Kyler pick because I wanted to take him.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, man. I hated Joe Burrow getting taken in the 7th because I gambled on taking Kareem Hunt. Like, I needed my 2nd running back, and I was really hoping to get the Burrow Chase stack. And like, I expected what we saw this year of like quarterbacks really being held off and like drafted later. And I think, you know, 3 elite quarterbacks, 4 elite quarterbacks going in the 7th round is not standard for our league, right?
Right. And dude, truth be told, I was at a crossroads on that pick. If we were to go back to the ledger that Bacon was taking, side note, shout out Bacon for timing literally every pick. Bacon went to the bathroom once during that draft that I know of because he was doing the picks. And when he was going, he was like, Collin, I gotta go to the bathroom. You got one job. Click this button when Stu finishes his pick. And I was like, just click this button. He's like, yeah, click this button. I'm like, got it. Very good. He left. I completely forgot immediately. Went to get my own drink. He comes out. He's like, did you get Stu's pick? And I was like, no, I did not get Stu's pick. Went and clicked it. So thank you, Bacon. But in that pick, I didn't know what to do. And I overheard from the crowd murmurings, I think from Pebbles, he was like, Collin won't take a quarterback. And I was like, maybe I should take a quarterback. And then I went to fantasypros.com and Lamar is their #1 ranked quarterback. And I was like, he's still available and he's the #1 ranked quarterback. I have no idea what to do. Sounds like I should take Lamar.
Yeah, that's awesome. 2 picks that I was surprised by are the Kittle and Waller picks. To me, and this might be just my own personal preference of like waiting forever on tight end. I think you and me are both on that wavelength. I don't know if there was any like competition for Kittle and Waller, but you know, they might have chosen Cam Akers instead, and so you know they might have dodged the bullet. Who knows? But those are 2 picks that were a little head scratching to me. Like you said, like I'd rather have AJ Dillon. I'd rather have a lot of the receivers, but I mean they picked receivers next time around, so who cares? Who knows?
Any picks that you did like?
Yeah, O'Malley getting Josh Allen in the 4th is just awesome. 100%. If Allen or Herbert made it back to me in the 5th, they were going down. That's like O'Malley being able to get Diggs in the 2nd and then Allen in the 4th is just, that's how you set your team up for a championship. So kudos for taking advantage of the positional availability while everybody else was keying in on receivers and running backs. Like that's probably, until we get a receiver or running back in the middle rounds that is clearly this year's Cooper Kupp.
Yeah,
Josh Allen is the best pick by far.
Yeah, I mean, he balled out last night for sure.
Yeah.
I like Max's running back, and those 3 running backs. When I was mocking, like I never did that up until like maybe my last 3 mocks, and then I just like kind of played around with it. And obviously, you can like debate whether mock drafting is worthwhile or not, but that generally was like kind of what I was doing. It was a combination of usually like those 3 guys, and then McLaurin is my wide receiver 1, and I feel good. I think Juju also is going to do well, so I really like Max's first. What is that? 6 picks.
Mm-hmm.
And then shout out Brad for having back-to-back write-ins in the 11th and 12th round of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you want to write in, you know, like who's the rookie with the hype? 11th and 12th round. You're not like, you're just shooting darts at that point. I have a question for you. So one thing that I noticed when like everybody has their own opinions, right? Like guys that we were targeting, fading, right? And people would ask me like, what do you think of my draft? And, you know, I wouldn't mention any of the negatives. So I would like you to like, what did you not like about my picks? This is fun. And so you can just choose one. Or
first and foremost, like Sutton Wilson are both question marks to me. Wilson injured last year, missed some time. Maybe his like cast, including like the line running back position, wasn't very strong, so he had a down year to his standards, right? So I'm unsure if he is just like on the opposite side of his prime or not. So kind of questionable there. And then yeah, Sutton, big question mark. I like Chase. Obviously, I took a receiver myself in the first round, so that pick is good. definitely would have taken Fournette, definitely would have taken Allen, Mooney, Hunt. I was hoping would get back to me on my next pick, but seeing as you took him very soon after I picked, I guess that was a fool's errand. And then after that, you just got a bunch of like backup guys. So I don't know. I like it. I think your first, what is that, 7? I think your first 7 picks are very strong. And then
Nice.
Wilson's kind of a question mark.
Yeah, that's fun. That's some good stuff. And hops into like a later segment.
Sure. Let's just hop there now. Let's hop to that
Cool.
segment now.
All right. So fun storylines to follow throughout the season. This year, I noticed that we have 5 out of 12 teams that have a noticeable receiver quarterback stack. So we have Bacon with Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford. We have Pebbles with Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown. Adam with Dak and CD. Me with Russell and Sutton. And O'Malley with Josh Allen and Diggs. So I think that these are all like heavy hitting stacks, and I think it'll be really cool. I mean, to your point, Russell and Sutton look like the weakest links on this list, and now I'm very self-conscious. I wish I had a Burrow Chase stack. But yeah, what do you think? Who do you think is gonna win in terms of stacks, right? Because like health comes into play here too, right? Like Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray both had multi-week injury absences.
Yeah, I really like this one. This question is cool because I feel like a number of them are close-ish. Easy to go with Allen and Diggs after last night's performance. Very strong. Kupp and Stafford, you can't discount because of what they did last year. And like the Bills defense is really good. So I think Stafford scored like less than 10 points. So I don't think that's going to hold up. However, I like the Dak and CD stack. I had CD last year and he was like mostly like amazing. Now different offense this year because Amari is gone and it gets kind of slim after CD. So we'll see if they can still like create some plays for him. But that I would be very happy to have that stack on my team, CD and Dak.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my top 3 would be Josh Allen and Diggs, Kupp and Stafford, and then Dak and CD.
Yeah, that's awesome. I personally was terrified of Kupp and Stafford based off of the elbow situation, like discomfort that Stafford's been suffering. So
Sure.
I faded all Rams receivers and Stafford, like just they're on my do not draft list, right? Especially, yeah, Stafford's like grinded through so many injuries as a quarterback on the Lions, just getting blasted game after game. But like your elbow, you can't grind through like your elbow. Your throwing mechanics, if they just don't work, then that's it, right? Like, so maybe he's like contemplating. This would be pretty crazy if it's you need to stop and repair this, or you're gonna ruin your career. Like maybe he's contemplating like
going for it.
Yeah, like push through it, survive, and then hang up the cleats after that. It'd be pretty crazy.
I mean, what I've read after last night's game was that the performance wasn't due to his arm. It was just a good defense. So obviously something to like monitor as the season goes on, but I mean, it seems fine after one game.
Bills defense proving why they were the top ranked fantasy defense, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And I really hope that Russell and Sutton can prove the haters wrong.
Yeah, who are your top 3 in that list?
Josh Allen and Diggs. I think Kyler Murray, Dak and CD for sure. And then I would go Russell and Sutton because I drafted them and that's what I believe in.
I was trying to like do some mental gymnastics to shoehorn Kyler and Marquise Brown in there because I had Hollywood Brown last year and he like basically did really well. There was one week I actually won against Max because he scored like a very late touchdown, like in overtime. But especially after last night, it's like, how can you bet against Cup?
Mm-hmm.
He like
18
fucking
targets.
He's so well.
It's
All right.
It all comes down to like, will Stafford survive
Stafford.
the season? And I just don't foresee it, right? Like the running game against the Bills was ineffective, so they're gonna have to lean on Stafford. And so, can he hold up?
Well, this as a storyline to follow throughout the season, we can revisit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last thing, very quickly. Oh, you want to get a drink?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Go
Then
for it.
I'll speak while you do that. So something I forgot to mention earlier during the draft segment, and a theme that the league just loves to love. This is not a hate to love; it's a love to love. Is Collin getting shook? Collin being shook. People love to track when Collin gets shook and ascertain if I'm shook. Many people during the draft were like, "Oh, he's shook. He's shook." I actually was like the calmest I've been during the draft. I think there only were like 2 picks, the Lamar Jackson one being one of them, where I truly was like lost. However, pre-draft, I definitely was shook because after the competition was all settled, the dust had settled. We had our draft pick order, and my pick was 4th. And so in my head, I was like, I got the 4th overall selection. It would be dumb for anyone to choose anything besides 1, 2, and 3. I'm drafting 4. I'm taking Justin Jefferson. That was my thought process. And then Bill takes number 1. Evan takes number 2. Bacon goes up and takes 4.
Bacon was 2nd pick. It goes 1,
Oh,
4,
1, 4, 3.
2,
Yeah.
3.
Yes. As soon as Bacon took the 4, shook. I was shook. And then I was shook for minutes up to my selection. I was like, oh, fuck. Do I choose 3? Do I choose 5? I want Jefferson. If Jefferson's going to be there at 5, I don't know. I don't trust anybody in this league. I had a drink delivery. Hell yes.
Let's go. Shout out Chelsea.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So I was shook. And eventually I like talked to myself. And then I was like, do I take Eckler? Am I dumb not to take Eckler? Eckler had a phenomenal season last year. He's going to be there most likely. What am I going to do? And I like literally like went downstairs and like sat on one of the toilets, like my head and hands. And then eventually I was like, I'm just going to fucking take my guy. I'm taking the guy that I planned on taking. And then the draft will just kind of fall as it does afterwards. I don't think there ever was a position where I was like, I just barely missed out on this guy because I was 3rd. But now it's more like, was it dumb to take Jefferson over Eckler? Like that's the storyline.
Mm-hmm. And we'll never. Well,
we will
know.
You know what we're gonna do?
We will know.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Let's just say I've been watching some how to gritty videos, and you will be seeing some of that celebration.
Cool. Can you host like a little like teach me how to gritty session?
Yeah, so people think you're hopping from one foot to the other foot, but according to Justin Jefferson, it's on the heels. You got to pop on the heels. It's heel, 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 heel. And then you kind of integrate your arms, do some of this shit, do some ice in your vein shit. We'll see what happens.
Some peace signs.
But anyway, back to this segment. And after we get there, I want to propose that we skip the listener questions and save that for next week, as we're kind of running up against what the network is going to yell at us for.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just learned that I could go to the Padres-Dodgers game for $20 a ticket. In any case, I do want to finish this is team names. Which ones do you like? Which ones do you hate? Which ones are you confused by? Which ones are you meh? Which ones made you giggle and piss yourself? What are you doing?
Yeah, so Born Again Virgins, clearly one of the.
Oh my God. Okay, can I play? I'm sorry to interrupt
Sacco.
you, but that's for Russell, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Did you listen to Stu's podcast? You did.
Yeah.
He was so confused. He was like, is Weaver a born again virgin? I don't know what's going on. I was listening to that. I'm like, he's obviously talking about Russell.
Thank you.
Is Cortland Sutton a born again virgin? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know, coming up, grasping straws, and then I learned this concept about born again virgins because Ciara was a born again virgin with Russell, where like she
Swoon.
had a child before dating him, and then he was saving his virginity for marriage, and so then she swore celibacy in their relationship to like match his
That's so funny.
virginity.
Russell,
Yeah.
I really like you. She's like, but you have a kid. I'll become a born again virgin. You can do me right now. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
That sounds
what?
pretty good.
Yeah, and I agree with Stu there, though, that sounds like some very sketchy Googling. But yeah, clearly, like if this is like last year, nobody knew who Doug Judy is because you are all uncultured swine. But born again virgins, it's funny if you know, and it's a complete whiff if you don't, and so it feels like a majority of people probably don't know. I really like Max. Max made me spit with the double Star of Davids. So that's my team name is probably the weakest, and then Max's team is the strongest. I think Cuckfest 2022 is probably pretty weak as well.
I love Cuckfest 2022. Dude, that might have been my absolute favorite part of the weekend is Brad and I naked on the floaties, just dying, cackling to each other in the pool on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Me like going to wash dishes and looking out the window and seeing you two and like, what? Why? You don't know until you swim naked.
It was like, why not? I'm at a certain level of consumption that it's like, fuck it. And then you get in there and it's like, wow, this is way different than wearing shorts and pretty nice.
Yeah. You're getting groomed. You realize this, right? All right, I'm gonna ask you a question. Had the thought ever crossed your mind to swim naked before being presented the option with stones?
I have skinny dipped in the ocean a few times.
Mhm.
But in that setting, probably not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, in that setting. But I think this also is a comment to the age of our league and friendship of everybody, and definitely drunkenness for sure. But it's just like, these are my boys. These have been my boys for 10 years. These gonna be my boys for the next 20 years, whatever. It's like, who gives a shit?
My boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly, yeah.
But names that I like, I really like my own, which again, this is part of me and Brad just like cracking up in the fucking pool. The Okefenokee Swamp trademark. Just the fact, finally, I gotta have a trademark in my fucking name because I'm usually the one being stolen from. In the past, I have it. Not that I have the greatest record for names, but the original trademark come from the skeleton closet that I was stolen from. I also think Cuckfest is funny, and after that, they're all kind of meh.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That's
I
kinda
hate
ridiculous.
that one.
As a podcaster, just seeing that made me just like,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get to the matches. Why don't we just jump into the matches right now, huh?
Adam's team, the alphabet. We'll just start calling his team the alphabet.
All right, you got your picks. Should we get into the picks?
Let me pick them. Yeah, I gotta. So, admittedly, I saw your message like maybe 10 minutes before game time, and it was also date night, so I just popped into League Pick'em and just went boom, 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 boom. Didn't even look at matchups. Like,
yeah,
So
perfectly fine. I also felt weirdly rushed, like I didn't budget time for it, and then all of a sudden it was like, I got to do this right now, or it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I love, so just looking at the League Pick'em and its live week 1 projected points. I'm currently assessed half a point for Max versus me and you versus Adam, because we're currently tied. And so the projected point is a half point. Like, just such a useless feature. But like, some poor software engineer had to dedicate a certain amount of time to developing that aspect of this league pick'em feature. Anyways, I chose Javante's Inferno, and I really couldn't tell you why. I like O'Malley's team a lot. Maybe just like thinking that Godwin wasn't going to play and that he was depending on that. Yeah, Jarvis Landry. I think that's what it was like, I don't think Godwin's going to play, so who's he going to put in that slot? Jarvis Landry. That doesn't fire anybody up. So that's probably why I went Javante. Tough showing for Allen Robinson.
I also chose Pebbles to win. I also would have drafted Allen Robinson. I don't know if I would have taken him where Pebbles took him, but I definitely was on the the rebound. Like, he's going to have a better offense, and like his like advanced metrics actually weren't that bad. Like, I had no problem with Pebbles' pick. Obviously now it looks like dog shit. But same with Cam Akers. So maybe it's the Bills defense. But yeah, I had picked Pebbles as well. I think for me, it came down to, dude, actually, even looking at these two teams, it seems ridiculous to choose Pebbles now. I think it was, I like Goddard over Hockencock. I like, maybe this is different than it was. Oh, Kittle's now on his bench, dude. Maybe that's part of the reason why. Yeah, Pebbles, you kind of look like you're in trouble.
Starting Kadarius Toney, who is listed as the 4th wide receiver in Giants land, that hurts. Where were these reports all preseason long? What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know if that's real or fake news. But maybe Eckler and Kyler can drag Pebbles to victory. I don't think he's out of it just yet. I mean, O'Malley had some early offense. We all know how that usually ends up. But yes, I also chose Pebbles, and it doesn't seem like a good choice for both of us right now.
Yeah, I think 2 big question marks for O'Malley's team. Is the Ayuk pick going to work out, right? Like, all the hype of Trey Lance and Ayuk working out this offseason and eating breakfast together and going to church together and sleeping with each other's partners all summer long, right? Is that going to work? Is that going to translate on
That's
the
how you
field?
build chemistry right there.
Yeah. And then Etienne, right? Like, he was hyped up to be, they traded up for him last year. He got hurt. This year, James Robinson is back after his Achilles injury. We saw what happened with Cam Akers. Is all this noise about James Robinson being the top dog just noise? So that'll be, I think, if I was O'Malley, I'd be sweating about Etienne, even though like Jacksonville's probably going to be behind a lot and he's probably going to catch a lot of balls. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, I felt as to him as I did for Sutton, where I was like, I literally have no idea what's going to happen. And that scares me.
Yeah, that truly in the 3rd round, so I love running backs. I always prefer to draft them. And when it came down to it, I was like, I have an elite receiver option, or I can take Etienne. And I was just like, I just don't know what his ceiling is. And I'm just going to go with like a boom player, hopefully.
Right.
And so that's why I went with like Keenan, right? Like, he's always consistently scoring in the 12 to 18 point range.
He's going to catch 100 balls. That's a great pick.
And I love players that catch balls. They're paid.
Truly the name of the game.
Who can catch more balls?
Catching balls. All right, next matchup. Cup Stack Touchdown. Is the whole name? Yes. Versus Kevin's 2023. I'll start with this one. I took in this matchup Kevin's 2023. obviously now we have a little bit of knowledge that Stafford underperformed by a lot. Although Cup also outperformed his projections, so made up a little bit of Stafford's deficiency. But I went with Bill. I really like Bill's team. I like Hurts, like Hill, like Mike Evans. Elijah Moore is kind of a question mark, but like showed out at the end of last year. JTT obviously is phenomenal. And then with Bacon, I think he's got some questionable guys. I mean, I was talking shit on Montgomery and Edwards-Helaire earlier. So yeah, I like Bill. And now currently their bushes are pretty similar.
Yeah, super fun. It's hard to gamble against Blood Diamond Bill. He's great at everything that he does. Like you said, Hurts to get 8 points from Stafford right off the get.
Yeah.
Big question marks for Bill. Starting 2 Jets is always tough.
Yeah, Brees Hall also someone where I'm like,
Michael Carter is currently listed as the starting running back, a player that I wish that I drafted, but took a gamble that he'd come back around, and he just never did. And that's how fantasy goes. Bill got Cole Kmet, right, which is everybody's like fantasy darling sleeper tight end. This team is going to be nasty, right? I think the biggest question mark for poor Bacon here is, starting David Montgomery against our Niners, which historically is very good against the run. Can't be feeling that good about that, but
sometimes you just fall into the end zone.
Sometimes it's still going to score points.
Yeah,
and you're
someone's got to score them.
Hoping that James Conner falls into the end zone a handful of times. So I also picked Bill here, despite starting 2 Jets against the Ravens, historically very strong defensive team. I'm going Bill here as well, but the New England defense might be the lynch point of this. The lynch point? I don't like that. The positional advantage that tilts this matchup, right? Like New England always randomly will show up with like a 23-point game, and it's against Tua. So who knows? He's a big question mark this season. So that's fun.
One thing on James Conner, I really wanted him in the draft, and I thought he would fall to me in the early third. He did not. He actually was taking a pick before I took Chubb in the end of the second. But I just talked about like my Jefferson scenario with where do I choose to pick based on where I think he's going to be. Eventually I went third, and Max asked me why didn't you go 5? Jefferson would have been there at 5, and then your wraparound pick would have been better, right, in the second round. And what I answered with after bumbling around for a little bit, I was this is the guy. I thought Connor would be available at the beginning of the third.
Yeah.
That was my one silver lining, or maybe not silver lining, hair thread justification for going 3.
If history can give you some confidence about your pick, I remember this time last year we were roasting Brad for the same thing, and he could have had a later draft pick and grabbed Saquon and then had a better wraparound pick, and his team turned out to be excellent. So
yeah,
classic.
That's right.
Classic
I'm
fantasy.
team Smuggy this year. Smuggy Okie Finoki. Next matchup. Let's see, where are we at? We got who dat say go and stop them St. Browns versus we're gay now.
Very topical team name for our league. It's nice. Great, using a player name. I chose we're gay now. Though it's not looking so good after the Cam Akers display. Mandrews is probably going to feast against the Jets. McCaffrey is currently healthy, so he might put up 30 points. Yeah, let's see. What are some question marks? I really like pointing out the question mark. So the big question mark that we're all thinking about is Cam Akers. Is he going to be fantasy relevant at all?
Things are at rock bottom. God,
Yeah.
he will
Also-
not be able to play.
Two running backs with Achilles injuries last season are on Now's roster. James Robinson. Maybe one of them survives.
Turns out, yeah.
Because historically, right, like an Achilles tear for a running back is a career-ending injury, right? They're just never the same. So at minimum, Evan has 2 cut candidates on his roster. And at maximum, he might have 2 serviceable running backs. But yeah, AJ Dillon versus Ramondre Stevenson. Gotta go AJ Dillon there. Christian McCaffrey over Dalvin Cook, obviously. Thielen is old, he's Asian, but somehow he just makes things work. I think it's going to be very interesting for Stu's team. Big question marks for me, Rashad Bateman and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, there should be no target competition for Bateman besides Andrews. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown last year excelled when there was 0 target competition. Now everybody's back. How is he going to do in that
Dude,
lead
I
role?
love that guy. I would
saved
have
your-
loved to have that guy. Yeah.
He saved
really
your
did.
year.
On my team.
But like wildly different circumstances for him, right?
For sure. The Chark is there now. Let's see, 5th. Yeah. I literally when I chose Waddle, I was like, do I go St. Brown or Waddle? Went Waddle, St. Brown taken 3 picks later. You always have that like, maybe he'll fall, all the way. Maybe people hate him.
Deontay Johnson fell super far from like Fantasy Pros rankings, and I was just like checking
He
all.
might
news,
not
like,
play.
Yeah.
This week. He
He's
might
playing.
not play. Is he playing?
He's playing.
I was about to talk about another league, not even my own league, tangentially my other league. Chelsea has her work league, and I was like, you gotta take this guy. And then news came out like he might not play, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah. But he's excellent when he's healthy. It's the classic Deontay Johnson. Like he'll score 20 points and then get hurt, miss a game
0.
or 2,
Yep.
come back. Yeah. But yeah.
I also
Go ahead.
took Orgay now. This obviously was before the game last night. I think McCaffrey's the one that kind of tipped the scales for me. I remember like in one of his injury seasons, like Stu had him. He came back for 1 game and scored like 32 points against me, and then like didn't play again that season. I was like that, I'm just like scarred forever with that. Thielen also is, yeah. I mean, I think McCaffrey's gonna drag this team to whatever they do or not. I do like Stu's team though. AJ Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown are great. I also am high on Bateman. Because like Hollywood Brown did so well last year, and like those targets got to go somewhere. That guy likely is around though. I'm interested to see what he does. And Dalvin Cook too. I believe in Cook. So I think Stu has a strong team. I chose Evan. Obviously, he's kind of behind the barrel right now, but
Yeah.
that was also
For
my
me,
pick.
Stu's team is like my team, but with better running backs, right? Like I went receiver strong, and he found value at receiver later. So if his mid-round picks end up panning out, like he's going to be a force. He ignored tight end or quarterback forever, and Tom Brady fell into his lap, right? Like we'll see what happens with Giselle. We know what happened to Aaron Rodgers after breaking up with Olivia Munn. So, and Danica Patrick, right? Like he had 2 down years after those. So we'll see what happens with
Hasn't he
that.
won back-to-back MVPs?
Ever since, yeah.
I think he's doing just fine.
He found his stride being a villain. He's a
yeah.
heel of the NFL, and he has never been stronger.
Literally, I remember after the whole what was it? It wasn't inoculate. Was he say inoculated? That's what he said. I've been inoculated for COVID or whatever last year after he like got it. But at that point, it was. I remember he was on the Pat McAfee show, and Pat McAfee's like, "You're never gonna win MVP again now." And then fast forward like 10 weeks and Rodgers wins MVP.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Big question mark for Ebert's team. Is Mahomes elite without Tyreek Hill?
We're gonna find out.
I mean, it feels ridiculous to say that, but like he fell so far in the draft. So that'll be fun to see him kind of get a little bit of Aaron Rodgers treatment of not having the best receivers. We'll see who does better this season. And then obviously Thielen and Renfro. How are those two receivers going to do? Renfro, because
being
of
second fiddle or third fiddle. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah. And then, Thielen just getting old, the ageless wonder.
I recall not Thielen, Mahomes having some down games last year. I remember O'Malley complaining, which is actually funny because he's a fucking champion now. But I remember some 15-point Mahomes games that happened where you're expecting at least 25 as the floor.
Right. Yeah. What's going to happen now that he's thrown to Sky Moore and 32-year-old Travis Kelce? Oh no, he's so old.
I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Next matchup, we got Performance Enhancing Drugs versus Cuckfest 2022. Great name, by the way. Who you got?
I chose Cuckfest.
Hey,
Gabriel Davis, huge performance. If he is the breakout candidate that everybody thinks he is, Brad's team is going to be real good. Drafting next to Brad always makes me feel terrible because I always pass on. I'll flash back to the Portland draft, and I took Kittle over Kelce, and that was the year that Kelce just went bonkers and Kittle got hurt. I finally committed to an early tight end, which is never my strategy, but I was I'm never good.
Well,
so I
you
might
went
as
for
well.
your guy. You went for the Niner guy. It was a coin flip. You're gonna take your guy. Come on.
Yeah, it was my guy. And then Kelce has a historic season, and Kittle gets hurt. It's fuck. And then naturally Brad picked him the next pick. But anyways, that happened a lot in this draft where round one, Jamar Chase versus Joe Mixon. Mixon was my guy, but Jamar Chase was the expert's guy, so I went with the expert's guy. That's gonna haunt me. Brad chose Elijah Mitchell, and I was debating, taking Elijah Mitchell versus one of my receivers. So it's gonna pain me every time that he does well. Gabe Davis was another receiver that I was oh.
Talk about fantasy darling. That guy, I'm sure, was on everyone's draft board.
Yeah, after that crazy shootout with fucking Chiefs, that was just legendary.
Well, also, what's his Emmanuel Sanders is gone, right? Who had a pretty good year, at least at the beginning of the year. So those targets got to go somewhere. Although I also believe in Isaiah McKenzie. Although he only had 3 catches last night, I think that guy's gonna have a good year too.
Cole Beasley as well.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Elijah Mitchell is being slept on. There's all this talk about RB1 always comes from somebody 25 years or younger. And Elijah Mitchell never came up in the conversation. He basically single-handedly saved my season last year with Derrick Henry going down.
Yeah.
He was my James Robinson. So I think Brad has a very strong team. And unfortunately, looking at the other side, starting both Brandon Cooks and Dameon Pierce on Houston, not sure if they're going to be an elite offense. So what's their scoring opportunity going to be like? Rashad Penny was great down the stretch, but he's also made of glass. Hopefully it works out for him. I personally would love to have either of them on my team, but that's how it goes. And then it's weird to see Mecole Hardman in a starting lineup, but
yes, we've all
there
been
we are.
snake bitten by the hard man.
Yeah. Perennial waiver wire fodder.
I also chose Cuckfest. Concerning Mitchell, it's he undoubtedly was really good last year. I remember talking shit, and then he performed, and I was I'm eating my words. But who knows what Shanahan's going to do? There's always some Shanahanigans in the back of your mind. This matchup is kind of easy to pick because, I think Scott had a rougher draft. on paper, right? We'll see how it goes in this season. I did like his Brandon Cooks pick. That was someone who I was targeting. That guy is like relentlessly getting 1,000 yards every year. So I would love to have that guy on my team. And also Swift did so well last year before getting injured. And Kelsey is like the ageless wonder we talked about. So there definitely are some pieces on this team. But Brad's got the stronger squad. Obviously, Gabe Davis destroyed his projections, although Knox did not. So, I mean, it's kind of a coin flip at this point. But yeah, I'm still leaning towards Cuckfest 2022.
Yeah. I think the key to this matchup is going to be Kelsey. If Kelsey can put up like 20 plus points, that's going to solidly give Scott the advantage he needs to recover, right? 23 versus 1. Hard to make up for that.
Next matchup, let's do the Okefenokee Swamp versus A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Those pauses, were those John Palminteri pauses, or was that you like momentarily forgetting?
The last pause was me forgetting the alphabet. Yes. The other ones was for emphasis. And then the last one was like, did I say V? I'm just going to wing it from here on out and hopefully no one paid attention.
Yeah. His full name doesn't show up on any screen that you choose except for his team name. And that doesn't help us podcast.
If you go league home standings, you can see everybody. But yeah, there are a few that are a little bit liberal with their character conventions.
Who that say they gonna beat them St. Browns?
Yeah. But I'll toss this to you, sir.
I went with the alphabet.
Boo! This is actually the first matchup we have deferred on, by the way.
I think this is very common, right? Like we always bet on ourselves and we always bet against, our opponents. Yeah. It's hard to bet against the king, Derrick Henry. He is back and he is beautiful. And I really wanted him this year. I wanted to run it back.
Wanted him again.
Oh my God. That is why talking about context, I wanted to be in the back of the draft, but getting the 8th pick, I was like, ooh, there's a chance that Derrick Henry falls to me there and I would snatch him up. So that's why I abandoned my pre-draft strategy in hopes of the king falling back to me.
I think he fell further than people expected, but not to 8.
Not to 8, yeah. Well, he could have. Jamar Chase.
For sure could have.
7, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I love Adam's team. I think Chase Edmonds with in a dynamic offense, right? Like Mike McDaniels is the old offensive coordinator of the Niners. He just finds creative ways to get players involved. And Chase Edmonds was the first free agent signing of the year. Dolphins went out and got their guy.
There's a lot of hype.
Yeah. And I'm buying in. I think I'm really pulling for Mike McDaniels, but I think that those are fun. Pitts is just like a phenom. I think the biggest question mark on Adam's team is filling out his flex spot, right? Like Antonio Gibson got lucky that his replacement got shot. Otherwise, he would be returning kicks.
Agreed.
Mike Williams can put up 20 plus points. If Michael Thomas returns to form, Adam will be going from 0 to hero. And if we flip it over to your side, love Jefferson, love Pittman, Waddle. We have to see, right? Like, it can Tua carry 2 fantasy relevant receivers? Not sure. And then there's the old Josh Jacobs. You never really stoked to draft him, but also there's no competition. So he was this year's Mike Davis to me of God,
I hope he's not Mike Davis from last year.
Yeah, and Gruden's out of there. You have Josh McDaniels as your offensive coordinator, who historically is an RBBC coach. So, and he brought Brandon Bolden over.
Dude, I've
So
read it all. I read it all. It literally, and that's pick. That was the other pick that I took forever on. It was him or Akers. And I was like, Akers has been injured and like Henderson was very involved. Jacobs seems like the clear number one. I'm going Jacobs.
yeah, it
But yeah, didn't feel
on
good.
paper it makes
Didn't feel
sense.
good about it. At that point, I also was like, I need a second running back. Otherwise, I'm gonna have like dog shit as my second running back. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And you know who's not feeling very good?
Many others.
All of us. We're all sweating now. Fantasy's not about enjoying the highs, right? Like it's just the lows that we revel in and like
Surviving the lows.
dreaming about getting that high. And then when you get it, it's never really that dope. We got to keep going. You got a Dodger game to get to.
I also took myself. I took myself as opposed to what you took. I think it's a very evenly matched game, but I think Adam has a few more question marks than I do. Michael Thomas obviously is questionable, trending in the wrong direction. Edmonds, actually, there's a lot of questions. First of all, Henry is going to destroy the Giants, and I'm very scared of that. Like, yes, undeniably, like he's going to put like 25 points. I'm already like accepting that. Edmonds, I would have drafted, but now I'm hoping that it's a committee more than it was, right? Mostert's there too. Gibson, they seem to hate him there. So like maybe he fumbles like once or twice and then he just gets benched. So that like the question marks with the Adams team combined with me just being a homer for my own team bent the needle to myself. So that's why I chose the Okefenokee Swamp TM.
How fun.
Last but not least, final matchup.
It's the final countdown.
We have the reigning, defending, whatever place that Weaver got last year.
Not good.
Last year.
Not in the playoff bracket.
10?
That's for sure.
Versus Star of David, the Star of David. Born Again Virgins, which may or may not be Sutton. We don't know. Against the Star of David. So I'll start. I chose the Star of David. The Star of David. And I did so because the Russell, well, actually also Hunt. Okay, the Russell Sutton thing we talked about, questionable, at least in my mind. Hunt, also questionable. Like, we'll see. I feel like he either has like 20 points or 5 points. But on Max's side, Herbert is going to do great. I'm believing in Juju because Hill is gone. And like I talked about, Kamara, Barkley, Elliott, I all think are going to be good. So because those three running backs, like they all easily could put up 20 points, right? Like he gets 60 points from those three guys and then like coast through the rest. And Herbert also is going to fucking put up points too. So I think Max is a sneaky, explosive team. And that's why I picked him.
Yeah, I was a Max's team is explosive diehard fan last season.
Yeah, they never got to that 90
showed up
points.
In Groupie, 90 points between Diggs, Josh Allen, and Tyreek Hill. That's who I thought could do it, and they never did it. And O'Malley's team week 1, Diggs, and that's so fun. Brutal. I think that Zeke going against Tampa Bay's defense is going to be awesome for me. That's one reason that I'm really excited for myself. I'm terrified about starting 2 Cleveland Browns in Njoku and Kareem Hunt, right?
Yeah.
This is fun for me and you because we have the Chubb versus Hunt situation. Right. And maybe we'll have like a rolling season-long bet between the two.
I'm down. I
usually
one. Don't see a bet that I don't enjoy.
Yeah, and one that you are favored in. I'm terrified of Fournette. I think like his ceiling is very high, but I will.
That's a fun Elliot versus Fournette matchup you guys got going on.
Yeah, and I have Dallas's defense as well, so it's just all our matchup is very intertwined. Yeah, and then
picking yourself.
I'm picking myself. I think that I'm hoping that my receivers can carry me over his running backs, and that's what I'm basing this entirety off of. I'm hoping my stack.
That's why
I have Deontay Johnson. And earlier when we made these picks, I actually had Darnell Mooney in that slot because Deontay Johnson was questionable, and I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that he was out in case something happened to me and like Santa Barbara loses electricity for a weekend. You know, but he's playing, and so I'm putting him back in over Darnell because I think San Francisco is going to feast on poor Justin Fields. But anyways, I'm betting homer pick, betting on yourself, myself.
Take yourself.
Njoku,
Although, yeah, it's,
Njoku over Ertz.
I think Ertz kind of faded last year.
Yeah, but without Hopkins, he's like another fantasy darling. But also, Ertz didn't practice all week, so
Well, Max has
Yeah.
like 6 tight ends, so he'll be just fine.
really funny. And I really got a break by Max not starting Buffalo.
Dude, 17 points. Yeah. Yeah. Cincinnati and Pitt. Wow.
I thought Buffalo is elite. Is that it? Are we done?
That's all the picks. So basically, the only ones we have different are our matchups where we chose the other person in our matchups.
Game on. How fun.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for everyone who submitted questions. There were all of 2 of you. We'll get to them next week, promise. I think both Weaver and I were extremely enthusiastic about this podcast, which shows in the amount of time given.
Duration.
But it's the first one, so fuck it, right?
Fuck
We're
it,
back,
though.
baby.
We're back.
Welcome to the People's Podcast. Frisbee touchdown. It's the time again. Couple of best friends hanging out in Malibu. Let it loose. It's week 0 with 18 more to go. Last year's champ, where are you at? Sean O'Malley got a target on his back. The stakes are high. For the record, I will run a beer mile. If the sacco goes to Scotty,